The Ball Poem by John Berryman. So we're going to do this little poem about a little boy who loses his ball. It's called The Ball Poem and it's written by John Berryman. A little bit about the poet before we begin the poem. John Berryman was born as John Smith, that was his real name, and he was born in Oklahoma on 25th October 1914. He was a teacher, a university professor, and he taught at many American universities. Finally, the last university he taught at was the University of Minnesota in America. In his writings, Berryman was influenced by Yeats, W.B. Yeats, Auden, Hopkins, Hart Crane, Ezra Pound, etc. However, the collection that would seal Berryman's reputation as an essential American original was 77 Dream Songs, which he wrote, which was published in 1964. This was awarded the Pulitzer Prize. Okay, so in this poem, the Ball Poem, he's trying to bring out a very subtle and beautiful theme. It's a subtle, beautiful poem which brings out a very, very subtle theme about a child's growing up, a boy's growing up. He sees this little boy one day when this boy has just lost his ball, and the poet sees him and he sees the changes that comes over him when he realizes he has lost the ball. The loss of his ball teaches the boy that in life we often lose things and they cannot be replaced, right? So we have to be careful about our possessions. But sometimes, loss is inevitable. It still happens. Such lessons are a part of growing up. How to kind of move on, with the loss. And everyone has to learn that at some point in the time or the other, life has to go on even after a loss. However, it is painful. As the poet watches the boy in the sad state, the poet is also pained, right? He's sure that the ball, as well as the person who whistles by the boy, feels the same way. It is sad to see someone lose something or someone, because that person is heartbroken, and it's sad to see someone heartbroken. But again, life teaches us that certain losses are inevitable and life just moves on. So let's do the poem now. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What is he to do? I saw it go, merrily bouncing down the street, and then merrily over, there it is in the water. So this little boy who was dribbling the ball on the road, and suddenly they see the ball bouncing merrily down the street and it goes over and falls into the water. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. When you lose something, you can't immediately say, oh, doesn't matter, let it go, I have something else. No. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy. The boy is like absolutely stunned. He is shaking in grief. He is completely overwhelmed, overcome with grief as he sees his ball, going off in the water. He must have felt a terrible sense of loss. And he stands rigid, he stands straight, trembling, staring down. He's trembling with sorrow, staring at the ball floating away in the water. All his young days into the harbor where his ball went. So there's a light comparison here to the boy and his losing his childhood. It's sort of the poet is kind of imagining or asking us to imagine that childhood is something like this, it just slips out of your hand, it goes away, and there's nothing you can do about it. So he just looks at the harbor, the water where the ball went. I would not intrude on him. Who is I here? The poet. The poet says, I cannot intrude on him. I just can't come and say, may I help you? He can't intrude on him. A dime or give him money. Oh, okay, here's some money, go buy another ball. A dime, another ball is worthless. He said at that point, nothing, he did could have helped the boy. Now his senses, first responsibility. The first thing that it strikes him is, oh gosh, why didn't I take care of the ball? So he realizes that responsibility is very important in a world of possessions. When your world is made of things you own, you have to be responsible for the things that you have. People will take balls. Balls will be lost. Always, little boy. So the poet seems to be telling him that you have to be responsible. There are things that people will take away from you. Somebody will come and take away your ball, or you will lose your ball. So you have to be careful. Hold on to it, because it can get lost. And no one can buy that ball back. He says, can buy the ball back. He's talking about the particular ball that the boy has lost. He says you cannot even get that ball back. You can't buy it back. Money is external. It's just a commodity that is outside emotions, outside feelings, right? So the boy is learning what? Well, behind his desperate eyes, the epistemology of loss. So the boy is saddened, desperate with grief. Now the grief is only being reflected in his eyes. His eyes are not grief-stricken. He is grief-stricken. The boy is sorrowful, and that sorrow can be seen in his eyes. And why is he sad? Why is he overcome with sorrow? Because he has lost the ball. The epistemology of loss, how to stand up, knowing what every man must know, must one day know, and most know many days how to stand up. So suddenly the boy turns from a boy to a man. He realizes that loss is going to happen. He has to stand up and overcome the loss and move on, with his life. This is what every man knows, or a man has to learn one day. And every man has to learn to, move on, overcome the loss.
Now, subscribe to Bright Tutee course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Tutee app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Tutee courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Tutee follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tutee and avail your courses at affordable prices.